Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. I have some exciting and recent updates to share with you guys today. As an XRP community member, I would like to inform my fellow community members that they should be happy as things are turning around. Yeah, slowly, but it's happening. Now, the updates are related to the practical use case of XRP, highlighted by reputable individuals from reputable firms, and then the approach of country towards central bank digital currencies, then Bitcoin halving and price fluctuation history, and then yes, finally we'll look at technical analysis from different authors, and we'll look at the same perspective in our charts. We'll try to put our own opinion based on the chart and technical indicators. But prior to that, I would like to request you guys that kindly do support the channel. I provide contents on a daily basis. Please hit that subscribe button and like the videos. If you guys have any suggestions to improve the channel, please let me know in the comment section below. Now, we will jump into the updates. Say this is the first one. In this one, say it's from at ISO_XRP. Why do we say XRP the standard? Because it's setting the bar for new payments infrastructure. What are we waiting for, right? Now I'll actually play a bit of this video, not the entire one. Say it's starting from this area.
It's also vital. If the Federal Reserve does not stand up a service, there will be a single provider of real-time retail payment services. We are mindful of the serious safety issues.
Now, what they are talking here about is, say, a single provider for payments. Now, who do you think is that gonna be? Who has all the relations, coordination with, say, banks and other financial institutions? Now, we know that, right? So the country is actually working towards that, and they are stating if the Federal Reserve is failing to do anything, it's gonna make only a single organization handling the entire payment sector. So yeah, there can be competitors. I agree. I don't think we'll cover the entire market space, but even if we manage to get around 10, 20, 30% of the market share, that will be huge considering where we are right now and considering the all-time highs when we didn't even have anything like that, right? Now there's the next one from Matthew Linney. The Federal Advisory Committee on Insurance 2017 report highlights Ripple and R3 as major disruptors. Now it's from 2017, but what you have to check here is payments and collections. You have the company Ripple. Now, say for collections area, maybe for contracts, you're using Ethereum smart contract. Now, when we move ahead, we can see that cross-border payments, you have a Ripple there. So that's not small. That's actually huge. You know, the disruptors, that really sounds well. Now, there's the next one showing that the demand for XRP is getting bigger and bigger. We are seeing more financial institutions starting to use on-demand liquidity solutions which utilize XRP as a bridge currency. Now, when they are transferring fiat to fiat, they need a bridge, right? And they are using XRP as a bridge currency right now because it's fast, cheap, and resilient. There is nothing compared to that in the traditional financial institutions. Now, this is from Real XRP Boy at boy_XRP. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving. Now, yeah, I'll show just read through this. This is an important milestone for banks to embrace distributed ledgers in the move from proof of concept to commercial ready solutions. So that's highlight, right? To move from proof of concept to commercial ready solution. Here at the bottom from Garlinghouse, what you can know is, say, we've signed up 90 banks, now including the Bank of England, the Fed's faster payment system, and many others. So the highlight there is, say, now we have signed up 90 banks, including Bank of England, the Fed's faster payment system, and many others. So that's actually huge. I don't know how to express more, highlight more about this particular thing, because 90 banks, including, you know, the Central Bank of England, so the Bank of England, so that's gigantic for XRP. because yeah, it's not directly for XRP at the moment, but sooner or later there will be a liquidity issue, and that's why they rebranded it as on-demand liquidity. So the 90 banks who are already in, say, Bank of England, if they are stating to their partners, say, we'll receive payments in this manner, then of course if they are small banks, they'll jump into on-demand liquidity, source the liquidity, and push it into Bank of England. And this one is from XRP Joker at Joker_XRP. We are all obsessed to the extent that we have uncovered a great secret. We know the outcome to follow up from Alex Cobb's video. Don't torture yourself digging for that XRP hit. Live your life and love every second. You'll be rich soon. So it's just, I'll put it like, be patient, because things are turning around and it's gonna happen sooner or later. You don't have to wait, say, for 100 years, because being an investor, that means it's not looking at short term, right? 6 months, 1 year or something. You'll be looking at 2 to 5 years or 5 to 10 years. Personally, I'm looking at 5 to 7 years maximum, or 2 to 5 years, in the optimal conditions. Now this one is from Michael at Val5Linux. Isn't there an Accenture Ripple connection? Sweden's central bank has tapped Accenture to develop its e-krona digital currency pilot project. So I told you before, right? Governments are looking towards digital currency, right? The next one is from South Korea. Bank of Korea looks to hire crypto experts, but yet in front they just don't accept that, but has denied it is preparing for a national cryptocurrency. Government always does the same thing. They tell this in front. Like I remember prior to the previous bull run, say in 2017, a finance minister from India was stating like, cryptocurrency is a Ponzi scheme. Don't go into that. It'll just screw you. And that was the right time to actually get into that wagon before it just skyrocketed. By the end of 2017, you would have at least 100,000, 200,000, 2,000% in profit. Say XRP, if you were in XRP at that particular price point, say around 0.15, the all-time highs were around 0.3537, depending upon the exchange you trade. So don't believe governments. Now this is showing that the highest in 2 years, 65% of Bitcoin hash power is in China. Now what I want to highlight here is, historically, Bitcoin has put on a good show in the 6 months leading up to the supply cutting event. So that's, which is coming ahead. So currently what the miners are getting say 12.5 BTC. Now that will be cut in half, and 6.25 BTC will be the reward for miners after that. So prior to that happening, I think, there can be a boom. History doesn't repeat, it will rhyme itself, right? So more or less, it will be forming a similar pattern. Now this is something I want to show you guys, trying to connect tweet with this. See, Western Union launches cross-border payments to Japan. Okay, there is nothing for XRP or Ripple in this. I just searched it, but nothing is there. But what I want to show you guys is, say, this is showing about City Express here, right? Now, when we go into City Express, there's a tweet from Chainsaw, that's at XRP Jackson, showing, the partners of City Express. Say there's MoneyGram, there is SBI Remit. Now SBI Remit is based in Japan, right? So SBI Group has around 80 banks, who's working with 80 banks who are now looking at XRP powered on-demand liquidity. So most of them works with Ripple, the company. So if we are looking at a cross-border transaction which is going to happen in seconds, then yes, there should be some kind of link with that. Now that's pure speculation. We don't have any official confirmation for that. Now this is kind of a technical analysis. This analyst is trying to say that XRP at crossroads, 30% uptick or a gloomy low to 0.14. Anything can happen in his perspective. Now this from another guy is showing basically different time scale Bollinger Bands, and showing you that the Bollinger Bands is getting squeezed, and what happens after that. There could be a blast, but it's not sure whether we are going to go to the upside or to the downside. As this one shows, it's either 30% up, or we are going to go down till 0.14. Now, as the Bollinger Bands are getting squeezed, we know that there is an opportunity, but understanding the basics is key before you start your trade. Like say we are right now in here, this is XRP chart on a 4-hour time frame. Now I'll try to express my opinion based on this chart. Say I'm using 20, 50, 100 and 200 day moving average and MACD here. So in the MACD, this is the long-term pattern for 4-hour time frame pattern. We are getting supported in all these areas. So as we can see, we are wicking at this particular area and showing that the buyers are coming in at this particular area. This is still acting as a resistance. So this resistance line is being supported, right? Now, when we zoom out a bit and look at it in a perspective, say we extend this line in the MACD, what we can see is, say, when we connect this, the price was actually consolidating here. It was not moving to new highs, but the MACD was showing highs, right? The MACD was showing a divergence. That means underlying strength. But now it went crossed that support line. It's below that support line. So we'll just go check what was happening in a similar scenarios previously. Now I would like to highlight here, this is one situation which I want to show you guys. Like say the price was actually moving to the downside, then it was consolidating there, the price didn't do much. Okay, as you can see, if you want to see clearly, I'll just zoom in a bit. Say here you can see the price was consolidating and the MACD was actually moving to the upside. Now at this particular point, you can see the price is still trading that within that range, goes to the bottom of that range, say to the support level, and then at the same time the MACD goes below that support line. After a short time, the MACD goes to the upside. So that's the first scenario, right? Now at present we are somewhere like this. We just went below that support line, and as we just discussed here, that happened previously. So now this is an instance before that. Say in this particular scenario, the price was consolidating through all these highlighted area, and you can see that the MACD was trending to the upside. So you can understand that there is underlying strength. The divergence shows you that you should be a buyer there. But prior to getting into a buying position, what you have to check is, say the MACD is crossing to the downside from that trend line, and that should be the particular buying opportunity. You should actually seize that. But yeah, timing the market is really difficult. Even if you have bought in here at the bottoms, it won't be that bad. Say comparing the price fluctuation, say for that particular case, if you bought in here, you would have had a 20% gain. That's just short time interval, right? Just 2 weeks. Now, yeah, considering the general crypto market in the long run, say 20% is not that big deal. But yes, it is not that small too, considering the banks giving you interest rate per year 1, 2%, 3%, 4%, right? Now when we zoom out a bit, we can see that similar situation has happened even previously. Say this particular area, the price was consolidating here, the price went to the downside, then the price started moving higher. So looking at the MACD, you can see that the price was moving to the upside, then it consolidated a bit, then went below the trend line support, and then it pumped. So what I wanted to highlight is currently we are also having a same pattern or similar pattern. So as we usually used to say, history rhymes itself. So there is a potential possibility that the price can actually go to the upside. Now, if you're a short-term trader, that means if you are trading for a duration, say 1 week to 3-4 months, I consider that a short term. Okay, now do keep your stop losses below the previous low or the support trend line. Now this is my personal opinion, that's not a financial advice. Now looking at XRP, say on a daily chart, and looking at the MACD, what I want to highlight here is we are still following the same pattern. We are still having overhead resistance at this particular area. Unless we break this pattern to the upside, that's going to be a negative sign. But now in this particular area, if the MACD is getting a bounce to the upside, then that's kind of a buy signal. Say the MACD came down here, then it went up here, right? So in the same can actually happen again. Now we'll actually look at XRP to BTC. Yesterday also we actually did the same, so today we won't actually go through a daily chart, 12-hour chart and all. We'll just check it at a shorter time frame. See, this is a 1-hour chart of XRPBTC, and you can see the trend forming here. The trend line is actually moving to the upside. Now when I draw it like this, don't just think the price is below the support level. Just try to connect it like this. More or less, usually it happens in this manner. See, this is a 1-hour chart, that's why I'm stating in that aspect, right? So if you connect this, you'll get 1 line, 2 line and 3. Mostly this is just for the illustration purpose, right? For a better understanding. Now you can see that the price is actually above the moving averages, say the 20, 50, 100 and 200, and currently the price is getting bounced above the 100 and 20-day moving average. 20-day moving average has managed to cross all the other plotted moving average, so that is actually a bullish news for XRPBTC in this particular time frame. Now if we actually plot, say, our trend line resistance here, we can see that the price tried to break above this area a couple of times, but it was a failure, right? It didn't manage to do so. But at this point we are still retesting that area, and MACD is showing you a bounce. So that's actually a positive sign for XRPBTC in 1 hour. Now we'll check at XRPBTC in a 4-hour chart, and as we can see that the MACD is crossing to the upside and moving to the upside. So that's actually a positive news. So comparing the price of XRP in USD and BTC, I personally think that there is an opportunity to seize at the moment, because if we don't do that, then yeah, if you're not in this market for 10-20 days, then you'll be losing around 90% of your profit. As a Bitcoin investor, Thomas Lee, stated, if you're not in Bitcoin, say for 15 days in a year or during a bull run, you actually miss almost all the major gains. So that's why holding you onto your position is really important while you're trading cryptocurrencies or any other assets in that case. Now you can see that Bitcoin is actually coming below the moving averages. Now this is a 4-hour chart. When we look at daily chart, we can see that Bitcoin is still below the 20-day moving average. It's moving to the downside. It was actually forming a new pattern, but now this is a lower low here. So we can still expect Bitcoin to come back and retest this particular price level. So if you're a short-term trader, do keep your stop loss there. Now we'll actually check at Ethereum chart and LTC chart today, because one of our viewers actually have requested that we include LTC in our chart analysis. Now we'll actually plot our support line here. Now we are actually bouncing above that, and as we can see from XRP was actually having a bit of movement in XRPBTC because the BTC value is actually going to the downside. Now for Ethereum, we can see that it's still below the 20-day moving average, and the price is actually making lower low here. So if we don't get a higher high, that means we are still moving within this particular pattern here. So if this is to continue, then you should actually expect, say, this way, the price can come to the downside here and then slowly move to the upside, unless it break down here or then move to the upside from here. Now in order that to happen, this is a daily chart and you have all these moving averages above you that will act as a resistance. Now we'll actually look at Ethereum on a 1-hour time frame, and yeah, this is the 1-hour chart for Ethereum. I'll just zoom in a bit so it will be better for visualization. See, right now we are still making low lows. We can see that the price is kind of making a new pattern here. So we actually broke below that. Now this resistance here is acting as a support here. So if we get a bounce in this shorter time frame, that would be great. But considering the longer time frame chart, say 1 hour daily, as we just described, the chances are that the price can actually retest this particular area. Now this is cryptocurrency, you can actually predict everything 100%, right? This is just probability, right? You're looking at patterns and possibilities. Now we'll check at LTC chart in USD and BTC. Now, as we know that during the previous bull run, LTC was kind of a leader. It went really up. right? Now this is a log scale chart of LTC, and considering the previous run up, say we can take the percentage, and I'll just illustrate. We just moved around 550% during the last run up high, so that was around 145, 150, and right now we are around 45, so that's a huge drawdown, right? And we expect that in cryptocurrencies. If you are a buyer here, you should be a buyer here, basically. Like if you are looking to be in the cryptocurrencies, then you should be a buyer here. Now when we look at this in longer time frame, say this is a daily chart, and we can see that the trend line resistance is lying in this particular area, and if you draw the support line, you can see like this. Now most of the time when this happens, what you can state is that there will be a 60% drawdown. Now we'll actually check the precise rate. Say we actually came down 70%, so the 70% drawdown, then there can be a pump, right? Most of the time that happens with cryptocurrencies. Now if for that we have to manage to get about our moving average, that's 20-day moving average, and then trade between the moving average zone and then move to the upside. So that should be the aim. So if you are looking to buy into this asset, then you should be looking for a higher high here. So while looking at that, you should be actually cautious. Say you have all these overhead resistance above you. Say if you draw this line, you can see this line is already acting as a resistance. You have another one here, so the possibility that the price can consolidate in this particular area for a long time cannot be neglected. But at the end of the day, this is cryptocurrency market, right? Nothing is completely predictable. Can't say this will happen 100%, but the probability is that the price may do that. Now this is 1 hour chart of LTC, and as you can see, as we described in the longer time frame, it's still valid in the shorter time frame as well. Now the price is actually moving to the downside, making new lower lows. So that's actually a bearish scenario even in the daily and an hourly chart. So unless the trend is changing, it's stated that the trend is your friend. But if you are looking to buy in, hold for a long period of time, then there should be a potential buy opportunity. Say the previous low was around 42 and the price is now around 43, so that's actually that should be considered as a buying opportunity only if you are a long-term buyer. Now that's my opinion, right? If I am looking at LTC and a potential buying opportunity, personally I would be buying at these levels, but not for short-term target, right? I won't be keeping my stop loss here. I'll be holding the asset for say next waiting for the next bull run. Say it can be 6 months, it can be 1 year, it can be 2 years. I agree that with that perspective completely. Now we'll look at LTC to BTC, as BTC is having a bit of movement to the downside as we compare to the XRP. Now looking at the same for LTC, we can see that the price is moving to the upside. We are above the moving averages, so that's actually a good news, say in 4 hour chart. Now when we look at this particular pattern happening here, I'll actually describe that as a bearish checkmate. Say the price was actually coming to the downside, making lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, but something just changed at this particular area, right? The price was not doing that. If you check at Wyckoff patterns, you will understand what's happening here. The Wyckoff pattern actually explains this in details. They showcase us the selling climax, that's the SC, then the ST and the details. You can just Google Wyckoff pattern and the accumulation phase here. So the price crashed to the downside, corrected itself, then this is the accumulation area, it's going to the upside. So you can consider this as a spring of this particular pattern here. Now that's an hourly chart, so yeah, it's now above this. So if it is based on the Wyckoff pattern, I'll say that now the price is actually retesting this support area, so that's reaccumulation. Then the price should actually move to the upside. Now yeah, that's not 100% sure. This is probability again, the game of probability. Now that's all I want to share with you guys today, and again I would like to ask kindly, please do support the channel, as this is a new channel. I need your support. Please do subscribe to the channel and like the videos. I'll come up with new video tomorrow with better news as it comes. Bye for now.